Hey, this is Nick from Remedy667.com, the best place on the internet for spooky themed typefaces and horror fonts. Yes. Um, so today we're going to do a special version of, I guess, what would be Horror Font Friday. It's not necessarily a horror font, it's not necessarily Friday, but I was at Goodwill the other day and I saw this book on the shelf and I was like, wow, that looks great. I didn't buy it, but I took a picture of it because I thought the lettering was kind of cool. It's kind of, I guess, I keep wanting to say Art Deco, but I'm not fully sure if that's what I'm thinking. But it's also a little bolder than what you would normally think of for an Art Deco typeface. But without any further nonsense coming out of this guy's mouth, let's take it away. All right, so here we go. Casts from a salmon reel. I don't know what this book's about, but holy moly, look at that lettering. Pretty cool. Look at that C. It's like falling over to the other direction, but I like it. ST, we got a R. It's even got a F for what? What? That's cool. And look at the M's, the two M's. So one, it's going like this, and then the other one, it's like that. So it's making its own rules. NO. You notice these L's, one's a little more condensed. There's just a lot of really interesting stuff going on here that also seems to be very like this is obviously lettering because we don't necessarily care. Oh man, not that they don't care, but like, you know, we're not paying attention to the system of the typeface. So I'm gonna make up a system for this typeface because I think it's rad. I'm gonna bring in this A just because it's a little bit better cut because it's bigger. The C, we're gonna say that that's probably the same. And I'm just gonna start by bringing all these up to size. I don't even know how I'm gonna do the G. I'm sorry that I keep sniffling still. I feel like this has been going on for weeks, but you know what? It's that time of year and just stuffed up all the time. This is gonna be the D. We're just gonna form it by, I'm bringing that end. What? What you doing? All right, so rolling that around. See how we're going over where the E is here? I'm just gonna tuck that because I don't want it to go over. Even though the D is a rounded character, I don't think it typically behaves the same as a C or an O or other rounded characters. And then with the E, I think I'm just gonna let it slide like that. Like let the D take over, if that makes sense. I'm gonna pause it for a minute, put on some background music. All right, so I've got some background noise on. I don't know if you can, will actually be able to hear it or not, but probably doesn't matter. For the record, it's Blood Feast. I recently, it's funny, I was just watching a video today and some guy was talking about how he got into Blu-ray in 2012, and that was kind of late. And I was like, wow, I still buy DVDs. Like, I have a few Blu-rays, but it's more because that's what was available, not because I was like, oh, I need Blu-rays. But I do enjoy the special features. Whoa. All right, I'm going to use this for my pee. But so the funny thing was I bought this Herschel Gordon Lewis box set. And I guess it was Blu-ray, and I didn't realize that. I thought it was DVD. And I have a lot of these, not a lot of these. I have like 2 or 3 of these already on DVD because I bought them when I was in college. And I was super into Something Weird video. At the time, so I went to college. I went to the Maine College of Art in Portland, Maine. And at the time, that they had a really cool video store, probably the best video store ever, called Videoport. And it was really great. They had anything you could imagine, and even weird stuff you'd never heard of. And I'd heard of Something Weird video because they used to advertise in the back of a lot of magazines, but I'd never actually like sought out any of their movies probably until I was in college. And yeah, Videoport had them. I want to say they had like Weird Wednesdays. So like with every rental, you would get a free rental. It was like Sci-Fi Saturday, where you'd get like something from the Star Trek section for free on a Saturday with any rental. And on Wednesdays it was weird. So you essentially got anything from the Incredibly Strange section, which was in the back end of the middle aisle. And it was pretty much like trauma films, a lot of stuff from Something Weird, Spike and Mike's Twisted Animation Festival. Just, I don't know, 90s stuff, I guess. There's an alternate. Oh, you gotta love this. This is so good. All right, when I make my G, I'm gonna make it from this O. One of my favorite parts, maybe not favorite parts, but one of the things I like about Blood Feast is it's kind of reminds me of The Undertaker and his pals a little bit. I'm not really sure why. It just has similar feel. Like, it's kind of goofy in the same way. I don't know if I like that G. I think I wish it was more slanted that way. But this is what we get for right now. This didn't come with an H, which I find kind of weird, or an I. Whoa. I should make the Fuad Ramses font from the sign in Blood Feast. The whole Egyptian feast. So back to video port. They also delivered, which was pretty cool. You could purchase this book, and it was pretty much a list of all their movie titles, and they would deliver them. It was pretty great. So on days when it was pretty snowy, they would come bring your movie when you're all stuck in and there was no class. It was also funny. I talked to them a lot. I actually worked at a video store back then, but not at that video store. But I would talk to them on the phone a lot, and I actually went there a lot and still rented videos because they were the best video store. But I would talk to them a lot because people would always return movies to the video store I worked at, and vice versa. They would get our videos, we would get their videos, and I don't know why it was such a struggle for people to bring their movies back to the right store, but so that bee actually looks pretty good compared to how I have been doing with bees lately. I'm going to skip my J for right now. But I may pull a K together from this R just to have it done with. See, I kind of, whoops, I kind of tried to keep that curve and then totally messed it up at the end there. This K feels weird. I feel like it's a little too bottom heavy, top heavy. Like it should be a little more centered, this center line, for lack of a better term. So maybe there. And we're going to have to just clean up a little bit of these edges. See, they got a little shaky when we moved it, and honestly they were a little shaky before that, so not entirely my fault. And we will so we need a U, and we're going to make that from this O, and I was going to say the M because it's wide correctly, but I'm actually going to make it from the H, just because these two are already split. Whoa, too far. And I don't even know why I brought anything over from the H. I drew so much of that by mouse. We'll get our V and say, you know, we're rolling along pretty smoothly. Let's do the V first, just because we've got it open. Whoa. We're going to do this J real quick while we've got the U. I'm going to put that together, and then I'm actually going to take this from the C. Reflect. I think there's a font called Show Card, which is similar to this. If I were smart, or not smart, if I had it, I would pop up Show Card on the screen right there. And you could see if I were totally lying or, well, not lying, but totally wrong, or if there was some merit. Whoa. That was a scream. I don't know if you heard that, but somebody is not very upset about getting killed with a knife. That W is a little lopsided. I'm not going to do anything about that now. I've been having trouble with my angles with my mouse. I should build like a thing, a track to sit my hand in when I do these. But either way, that sounds like too much work. Reflect this. Okay, that's great. Group that. I'm making my X from my V. That's a little too much. So I'm actually going to jump back into that X, I think. And you'll notice it here too. I think I want my V closer to that shape. I'm going to pull it down a little bit and cut this here. I'm actually going to tuck this in a little bit too. Group. Let's duplicate this X. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck that over a little bit. They're still going to be uneven. So it'll still work as an X, but it's just going to look a little better, if that makes sense. So see the X at the top and then the X underneath? It just looks a little better. I'm just going to delete that other one. I feel like I should probably bring that bottom part in a little bit there too. The last thing I think I would want to fix is this W, but I'm not going to do that. We instead are going to move on to punctuation. Yes, I is. All right. I skipped numbers, as you noticed, but it's because I don't really have a lot of space right here. And reflect. Maybe it's the sets of Blood Feast that make me think of The Undertaker and his pals. I love The Undertaker and his pals. I think it's very fun and cheesy. I don't remember where I initially got it, probably from the dollar store when I was in high school. We're going to reflect this. I think it came on a Catcom DVD with Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, if I remember correctly. Which I got to go back and watch that movie. But at the same time, if you own like a Catcom DVD of something, it's pretty low quality of a transfer usually. I was trying to watch Horror Express with Christopher Lee for the longest time, and I'd seen it a bunch of times, but I was just always kind of like, this movie's kind of hard to watch. And I think it's because I had a Catcom version of it, and I had purchased a version off of eBay that was, I don't know what company did the transfer, but it was much, much better, and it was an amazing film. And I felt bad that I had missed out on it for so long, because it was definitely worth the watch. All right, we're going to group those, pull them over. Move that out of the way. All right, this is a weird... I'm actually going to... Whoops. See, I kind of hooked it up a little further. I like this one better, so this is actually just gonna spin around. There we go. That looks great. I don't know anything about this book or anything about this piece of lettering. Never mind. I'd grabbed a book. I was going to look through it and be like, hey, this is what show card looks like. But it wasn't in either of the books that I had. So I just looked it up online, and it's much different than this, but it is very similar. This is casts from a salmon reel, probably a book about fishing or being a bear. The G looks a little crazy on the top. I would probably definitely edit that hook or make it angled like I talked about before. The H feels really thin to me in comparison to some of these other letters. The P's a little weird. Something about this curve. I like the Q. It's got some weirdness. The U's a little thick on the left. That curve just doesn't really hit 100% for me. The W, that left side, just a little awkward. I don't know. And the Z looks like it's from a completely different font. So I don't know. That's that. Cast from a salmon reel. Just some fun messing around. Go to remedy667.com. Check out some of our horror fonts that we have. You can try them out on the site. You can buy a license. You can, I don't know. You can do all sorts of stuff. And just browse the catalog. There's lots of weird stuff to look at. I'm Nick. I will see you on Friday. Or next week. Or in the next video that you watch. Talk to you soon.